Welcome to another episode of One on One with Mitch LaFon. Joining me this week from Foreigner, it is bassist Jeff Pilson. We talk about their new In Concert Unplugged album, available only at Amazon currently. All the proceeds go to help the Juveniles Diabetes Foundation. We also talk about Last in Line, their new album, Heavy Crown. Jeff was involved heavily in that, being the producer and so on and so forth. And yes, we talk reunion. We talk both Guns N' Roses reunion because he's friends with Steven Adler, and should Steven be part of the Guns N' Roses reunion, Jeff offers his opinion. And we talk about the Dokken reunion. Is it on? Is it off? Is it on? Is it off? Lots of questions going back and forth about what's happening, and Jeff lays it out very clearly. There is no mistaking about what's going to go on with the Dokken reunion. But without further ado, here is the one, the only, Jeff Pilson. We are speaking with Jeff Pilson of Foreigner. Good day, sir.
Well, hello.
Always a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, you too, Mitch.
And there's so much to go over this time. You're a busy guy.
Yeah, I kind of don't stop, do I?
No, no, you never.
Advertiser buddy.
Yeah, you really are. So let's get started with all this stuff. There's the Foreigner In Concert Unplugged. There's the Last in Line. There's what you're going to be doing in a month from now and 2 months from now and all this stuff. So Foreigner In Concert Unplugged, which I purchased, and it's for a good cause. It's for the juvenile diabetes.
That's right. That's right.
So talk to me about that. How does the band get involved in juvenile diabetes? Whose idea is it? And just
okay. Well, it originally stemmed from Etzel Ford at Ford Motor Company, who he has children that have been dealing with this. So we got involved with them last year. We started doing a lot of stuff with Ford. They were really, really cool. They provided the venue where we recorded the live record. So we wanted, a lot of the proceeds to go to them. We also, our road manager, Robin, his daughter has juvenile diabetes. So it's kind of become close to the whole family here because Robin's been with us for 10 years. So, it's all very close to our hearts. And so it's a cause that we feel very strongly about. And, and Etzel Ford, like I say, who could not have been more gentlemanly and wonderful in treating us and dealing with us. It was a win-win situation all the way around, and it was something we absolutely had to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what I can tell is that it's only available at Amazon in the States. Is that something that's going to change, or is that sort of the only place where people can get it?
I believe it's going to change soon, but I don't have anything definite to tell you. I was just told that, it's starting out with Amazon, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Okay, that sounds good. And the other thing I was going to mention is that you've done acoustic albums before with Foreigner, Acoustique, and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. These versions are actually very different. There's sort of more instrumentation going on. Was that sort of something deliberate to make it even extra special?
Yeah, a little bit, because for one thing, we had never done an acoustic project with the whole band. We had done a couple of songs on the Foreigner 4 and More record, which we did a year previously. And we had the whole band in on those couple songs, and they just came out great. So the thought was, well, you know what? Let's do a whole live record of this. So the whole band was involved, and that means you've got a lot of great musicians coming up with a lot of great ideas. And it just really lent itself well to the music. Everybody just really applied themselves, really Bruce's slide work, Michael's keyboard work, the way Chris played percussion, all of it is just really outstanding. And it makes for a very, very deep acoustic record. And it may be acoustic, but it still rocks,
Yeah, it really does. But wasn't there a full acoustic album that was put out in Germany a couple of years ago, where you had recorded in Berlin or something? Because I bought something like that.
A live one? Not commercially. It might have been a bootleg, but because we did do a bunch of shows over there. There might have been like a radio show that was put out that does sound reasonable, but that would have only been 5 of us, or actually maybe even. Well, see, Mick, Kelly, Tom. Actually, it might have even just been 4 of us: Mick, Kelly, Tom, and I. So we've expanded it a lot since then. And it's really made for some fun, interesting grooves and feels on the whole music that really do something special to it.
Yeah, it really does. So, what are the plans for Foreigner going forward? Pardon me. You had some shows, I guess, with Tesla and Styx.
No, it was actually the Tesla show with Def Leppard last fall, and that was where we were on the road together. That's when Vivi and I recorded the acoustic track that we used as the bonus track for Last in Line that you had mentioned.
Right. Right. The Heavy Crown acoustic remix for Japan.
Right. That was actually done in a hotel room with Mick Jones's acoustic guitar and Vivian playing it. But yeah, we were out with Leopard and Tesla at fall. Then we took the rest of the year off. I had a little surgery. And now we're ready to go. Basically, our plans are next, just touring our butts off. We're doing a lot of festivals this summer, and we are doing some recording. Although the nature of that recording must be remain secret for the time being, or else I would have to kill you.
And we wouldn't want that. So there you go. Okay, so let's look at Last in Line. So you got involved with production.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about the project and how you got involved and what kind of sound were you trying to give? Because you sort of had the Dio connection, and here you had sort of the Dio band.
Right.
So talk to me about that, and why didn't you want to sort of be part of it as well?
Well, I mean, the band, the whole object was to have the original Dio band with another singer. And I was actually quite flattered when they asked me to produce it. I mean, these guys are very, very dear friends of mine. Long time, very dear friends. I mean, Vinny Appice is one of my dearest friends of all time. And so they called and they said, "Hey, we're going to do this. Can you, record?" And it started out very innocently. We just started recording some songs, and it went amazing. And we just had an immediate chemistry in the studio together. And when Andrew, the singer, came in, he and I also really clicked. And so, as far as me being involved at that point, that wouldn't have even crossed my mind because, like I say, the objective was to have the Dio band, and so I was just very, very excited to be involved in the capacity that I was, which was producing it and recording it, and that was an unbelievable high. I got to tell you, just because so many of the tracks were just Jimmy, Vivian, and Vinny just playing live in my studio, and we would record it. That was it. Then maybe Vivian would double the guitar, or maybe somebody would punch in a couple mistakes here and there. But as a rule, it was pretty much live playing with a live vibe, no click track, just boom right there. And it was amazing. I mean, to be in the room with those three guys playing and just listen to it happen was phenomenal. And what I was going for, my vision, and what the band's vision, I think, for the whole thing was, let's make this. Let's make this who we really are, and who we really are, the three of them, is the Dio band, and that was, so it's not going to sound a whole lot different than that. It's going to be very much, from that. But let's be inspired, and let's see what material we come up with. Let's keep it raw. Let's not go crazy with overdubs. Let's let the guitar, bass, and drums and the vocals do the talking. And so there was very little emphasis on production overdubbing, only in select spots. It was mostly about just capturing the vibe of these guys playing and Andrew singing, as if all of it were really loud and in your face. And I think we accomplished that. I'm so insanely proud of that record. Like I say, it really feels like a little piece of history, and I couldn't be more honored to be part of it.
Yeah, it's a really great album. Now, I spoke to Vivian last week, and he says that the band, because of the passing of Jimmy Bain, is not going to go out and tour, but they have a couple of shows like Rocklahoma that they want to do. Mm-hmm. And he mentioned that you might be the obvious choice. Is that something that interests you? Would you step in?
I would step in a heartbeat. Unfortunately, for both Rocklahoma and the Italian festival that they have, Foreigner already has dates, so I can't. But of course I would. I mean, I wouldn't even I wouldn't even have to think about that. That's, that would be something I would absolutely love to do. I wish I could. I really wish I could be in two places at once for that, because Rocklahoma with that would be a really, really special moment. And so I'm actually really bummed that I can't do it, but I do have this job that that I've had for 11 years now. So
yeah, you've got this day gig, right?
Yeah, this day gig.
By the way, I found where this acoustic thing was. There was an album released in Europe on Ear Music called "I Want to Know What Love Is: The Ballads," and the second disc on it was at a German radio station.
Oh, I know what it is. No, it's not a German. It was at a German air museum.
Right. There you go. So, but I found that I knew that something existed.
And you know what? That actually was the whole band. That
right.
was the whole band. That was. I thought that was good. It was. I think we took more time for this one, for the new one, and rehearsed it more. So I think it's a better overall performance. There was some good stuff on that one, but I think we've kind of evolved it a bit since then.
Yeah, no. Anyway, the new one's great. So, but I was just thinking, I'm not crazy. I know I'm not crazy.
Yeah,
I know I bought something.
I probably am crazy, Mitch. I've done so many of these recordings in the last few years.
I know.
Keep track. Thank you for helping me do that.
There you go. I'm keeping it real. You mentioned that the Foreigner commitments are going to prevent you from doing this last in line stuff. There was also talk of a classic Dokken reunion, and the last time anybody heard of it or from it was from Don, who said, Jeff is just too busy with Foreigner. Is that still the case? Is the Dokken thing off the table?
No, it's not.
Okay.
And we're actually working really hard to try and pull something together right now. It has to fall in spaces where there is time off, so I don't know for sure whether it's going to happen. If it does, you would be one of my first calls.
Yep.
So let's just say we're all friendly now. We're all past all the decades old crap, and we all talk, and everything's great. Now it really is just down to scheduling and trying to figure it out, because you got to do it right if you're going to do it. We all feel that way. We all feel. I think we've all come to a place where we're very appreciative of the legacy that Dokken has, and we would never want to just do something for the money and take advantage, because we get offered a lot of things quite often. And if we wanted to do it that way, we could. But the fact that we don't, I think, is a great sign. I think when we do finally do something, we're going to try and do it right. Although I don't know if we're going to ever get to do the big sweeping tour that we've talked about, mostly because of the Foreigner commitment. But we're going to try and do something. So hopefully I'll have something to report sometime soon.
Right. And I'll just ask you one last thing on that.
Sure. You can ask all you want. There's nothing to hide.
Nothing to hide. So what would be the right way for you? Is it mean new music and a tour, or does it mean just do a tour, or just?
I think really to do it right means that when we go out there, we sound good.
Okay.
No matter how many or few shows we do, no matter new music or old music. I would love to record some new music with Dokken. I would love that. I just don't know if we can or will. I have a sense that sometime we will, somehow. But we'll see. Again, it's just down to quality. If doing it right means doing it with quality, because we were always very quality conscious back in the day, and I don't think any of us want to let that go now.
Yeah, and I agree with that. In fact, I can almost see it sort of like what Twisted Sister does, where you go out and you do 10 shows. It's like the Whack-In and the festival here and the Hellfest there, and you don't go spend time in the clubs for 200 people. You go to the festivals, and that's the way to do it. That's sort of how I would see it.
Yeah, and that could very well be the kind of thing we do.
Yeah, which would make sense. Are you happy now that it's come around where it's not a question you have to dodge in interviews, and it's not like, oh, here comes the fan backstage, he's going to ask me about Doc. Like, is it nice to just be able to say, hey, we're friends, and even if we don't play again, that part of your life is settled or
yes, to answer you, I know where you're going with this,
yeah.
And absolutely, because no matter what, no matter how argumentative a band is, no matter how much, think of all the time we spent together, think of what we accomplished together. I don't care what anybody says. We all love each other. We really do. There is a love in there that's, I mean, sometimes it's, it's two siblings that, love and hate at the same time, but, but there is a lot of love there. So, yes, I'm very glad. I'm very glad that when I get an email from Don, I'm not going, oh God, what's, I'm excited to read it. And, George and I have been close for a long time. So that hasn't been an issue for a while, but I mean, yeah, it feels really good. We do. We shared something very special together. I think we're all at the point in life where we kind of appreciate it now. And if we ever get a chance to do some more with it, I think, it should be really, it would be very interesting because we've never been in a situation where there wasn't animosity. So I don't know. Maybe it won't work. I don't know.
Well, maybe sometimes the tension is what makes it great, but who knows?
No, you know what? That's such a theory, but in our case, that's so not true because had we been more together, we could have been so much more productive with what we had. Because there's a lot of talent there. There's one of the greatest rock guitar players ever. There's a rhythm section that was very, very groove oriented and heavy. And, there was singing that could be, there was a huge range of singing there. One of my favorite lyricists in rock is Don Dock. And I mean, there was some serious talent in there. So, I always think that our tension actually spoiled what could have been really, really great and turned it into just great.
Yeah, I guess that can be frustrating too. But what a great band. I want to ask you quickly about Adler. That was the last album that you produced, you played on. Do you think you might see more from Adler? And maybe...
Yeah, well, Steven's one of my best friends. I mean, I talk to him almost daily. Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely, I mean, he's another guy that wants to do it right. Here's someone who, sold bazillions and zillions and zillions of records. And he looks at the music industry right now and he's like, no, something's wrong. Something is just not right. Why put out a record if only 5 people are going to hear it and buy it? So we talk all the time. He's got really, I mean, his band are really great musicians and great writers, and there's always talk. But the real focus on that would be, how do we do it right? How do we do it in a way that's not just the run-of-the-mill, put out some record and, nobody hears it? So, yeah, we talk all the time. There's definitely going to be something somewhere down the line. We've done some recording over time, just to kind of keep it all fresh. But as to how we're going to do the next Adler record, that I don't know.
Do you think he should be getting a call from Guns N' Roses? And I know that's like stepping into a hornet's nest, but I have to ask.
Well, of course you have to ask. Do I think he should get the call? Well, absolutely. Right. I mean, I'm a huge Guns N' Roses fan. I really am. And I saw the band many times back in the day. And I happen to think Matt Sorum is an amazing drummer. But chemistry is something you cannot argue with. And I'll never forget the first time I saw them at the Forum in, I believe it was 91, which is so after Steven had left. I was watching the band and I was thinking, God, they sound good, but it's just, there's something not right. And then I finally figured it out. It was that Steven wasn't there. It didn't have that same runaway energy that, just that dangerous, it's about to explode thing wasn't there. And if you know Steven, you realize that that's his personality. And it was his personality that was very much about, of course it's all of them. I mean, I'm not saying it was just Steven by any means, but there was something about the chemistry of Steven with those guys that made a sound that I think is the sound that we all know as that, classic, amazing Guns N' Roses sound. And as great as the band could be in later days, I just never think it had that same desperate energy again. So do I think he should get the call? Of course I do. I think, and I honestly believe that those guys know that. I mean, that they feel that deep down. I mean, the reason that they didn't have Steven was because, Steven, by his own admission, had some very, very serious problems. And he has done amazing at dealing with those problems. He is a different human being today. He is he has evolved so far from where he was 2.5 years ago that it's not even funny. And I think he's ready. So I hope to God he gets the phone call, because if he does, the world's going to get lit on fire again.
Yeah, I agree. I was speaking to producer Steve Thompson last week, and he said, Steven, Steve, right? He's
of course, yeah. Well, right. You know what he mixed right before he mixed Guns N' Roses? Or I'm sorry, what he mixed right after he mixed Guns N' Roses? He helped mix the Back for the Attack album.
Right. That's right. Yeah, and he was saying that Steven Adler is swagger and Matt Sorum is a machine, and he says in rock and roll you want swagger, not a machine, and I thought that was a great quote. So,
yeah, no, well, I mean, again, Matt is friggin' great. Let's not take anything away from Matt, because it's not that at all. No. It's about feel, and it's about. It's, to me, one of the greatest things is when an artist presents who they really are and it works. That to me, that's the highest form of art. And Steven, I mean, listen, along with all of them, because it really was the way all of them combined, they were real. They were a real band, and that's what made people so moved by that record. Not only were they great songs and great performances, but they were real. They were a tangible thing. There was a force that happened when the five of them played that was greater than the sum of its parts. And that's what I think people really want to see in a reunion. So I hope to God that it's the five of them. I really do. But I understand that there's a lot to work out and a lot to deal with. And but as one of Steven's, I consider Steven to be one of my best friends. I know for a fact that he's ready.
Yeah, I think he's ready too. And when you were talking about the Dokken reunion and doing it right, I just hope the Guns N' Roses reunion is done right. Right now, it seems to be a little bit disjointed, but we'll see. It'll be a great moment either way. And
either way, it'll be a great moment. And I know it'll be exciting and fun. But think of the feeling of watching the original five go out on stage and play. And listen, I know them all. They're all at the top of their game right now. They're all playing and in great condition, and it's pretty amazing. So I think it would be a force to be reckoned with.
I really do. I think that's great. And then I'll ask you one question that I've never asked you before, just because I'm curious. Mm-hmm. You did the voice of Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat.
Wow! I very rarely get asked about that, but yes, I did.
Yeah. So talk to me about voiceover work, because I know you did Rockstar, but you sort of, well, I don't want to say you played yourself, but you basically
yes, I did.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely, I did.
I mean, you played a guy playing bass in a band, right?
Yeah. Big stretch.
big stretch right there. But talk to me about Mortal Kombat and voiceover work. Is that something? I mean, is there a lot of other voiceover stuff that we don't know about?
No, not a lot. Although, you want to hear something really funny?
Yeah, absolutely.
You'll get a kick out of this. In 1987. I was kidding around with the marketing person at Elektra Record, and we were just getting ready to release the Back for the Attack record. And I made a joke, and she goes, "Wow, do that again." So I did it again. She goes, "You've got to do the voiceover for the record." And it just so happened we were heading to New York to do promotion for the record. So while I was in New York, this was probably, I'm guessing this is early fall of '87 probably, I went into a studio in New York and cut the voiceover for the Back for the Attack record. And I remember what I said. I said, "Dokken is back for the attack on Elektra Records and tapes." And that was the MTV ad.
Oh, that's great. Record. I'm going to have to find that on YouTube.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. God. Anyway, but no, there's not a lot. I wish there was more because I really enjoy it. I've done a lot of like local and regional commercials and stuff. Just over the years, just because it's something I love to do. It's, part of my dream is to be a one-man everything, to be able to do music, voiceover, soundtracks, and all that kind of thing. So yes, I do love doing it, but no, there's not a lot of Johnny Cage roles out there that you don't know about.
That's funny. And it's also funny that you mentioned that you want to be a one-man everything, because whenever I interview somebody where you're involved in the project, whether it's Steven Adler, whether it's Vivian Campbell, they always say the same thing. Jeff can do anything in the studio. Give him any technology, he'll learn it right away. He can sing, he can play bass, he can play this, he can play... I think the perception out there is that you already are a one-man everything.
Well, thank you. I guess I'm a work in progress. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, well, we all are, and there you go. Jeff, always a pleasure. And
you too, Mitch.
Yeah, and of course, folks, get the In Concert Unplugged CD from Amazon. Even if you have to import it to wherever you live, it's worth every single penny. The songs are great.
I'm so excited about it. So, yes, thank you very, very much. Get that, and then when The Last in Line comes out, get that, because that is just going to floor you.
Yeah, The Last in Line is great. It's out in Japan now. I know that because I did buy it, and I have it in front of me. And
it's out here now, too.
It is, too, yeah. And it's important for me, even though when I do interviews, people send me links to the music, I still go buy the albums because that's what it's about.
Because you're cool.
Well, you got to support the artist, right?
Yeah, well, of course. That's part of what I was talking about earlier is that somebody's got to figure out this whole system because it's broken at the moment and it's got to be fixed or else it's going to be a lot harder for great new music to get out there.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to great new music from Foreigner and whatever else you lay your hands on because it seems to always work out that way.
That I can't tell you about or I'd have to kill you? Yes, of course.
Well, yeah, or any bands, whoever you're recording. Are you recording the new George Lynch, by the way, the K that he's doing with Ray Luzi?
Not the KMX, is it?
KM. It's the guy from
KXM.
No, you're not involved in that.
No, I'm not involved in that one. I did do some... I have been kind of helping out with the new Lynch Mob record, but not playing bass, coincidentally. I don't know how far along they are. I did some keyboards for them because they had a couple songs where they wanted to do some keyboards, and then I was gonna work with Oni on doing his vocals, but we ran out of time. But at the end of March, if they still don't have some vocals, then I have a feeling I'll get in there and do some of that because I love working with those guys. Love those guys to pieces, and I always want to do whatever I can to support the Lynch Mob.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, they're supposed to be up in Canada this summer playing a couple of shows.
KXM doesn't need any help. They're doing great. They're really great. That last record was fabulous.
Yeah, it's a great band. And Last in Line, all the stuff is great. You just keep turning stuff into gold. So keep it up.
Again, I didn't do any turning of gold in KXM.
Oh, true.
True. You know who is very helpful on that is Chris Collier, the guy that mixed Last in Line and mixed the Lynch Mob stuff. Chris is a very, very talented engineer, great mix engineer, and he did a great job on that stuff.
There you go. Thank you, Jeff.
All right, Mitch. Awesome.
And there you have it, folks, my interview with Jeff Pilson. Definitely one of the nicest guys in rock. So please check out Foreigner in Concert Unplugged. I have bought it, and I can tell you I am loving it. I think it is fantastic. Great performances, or great acoustic performances of some of the greatest hits that we have known for the last 30 or 40 years. And then Last in Line with Vivian Campbell, Jimmy Bain, Vinny Appice, and more. Just a great rock record. Absolutely great rock record. It's nice to know that in 2016, rock is still alive and well. So there you go. Check me out at Mitch LaFon on Twitter and also one-on-one Mitch LaFon on Facebook. Thank you, folks. Thanks for listening. And hey, get ready for a Dokken reunion, boys and girls. And with that, I'm done. Bye for now.